Polo is exhausted because Majesty, only Polo, can take this and give you
a princess.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Lavender Lounge. Today is a very exciting video because if you're anything like me, a millennial in her late 20s, then the Princess Diaries means something to you. Maybe it didn't, but for me, it's a very nostalgic movie, and I think about this apartment that's in this firehouse all the time. Like when I'm looking up photos on Zillow or browsing like really cool houses on Airbnb or something, I'm always thinking about this freaking firehouse that Mia and her mom lived in the first Princess Diaries movie. I genuinely think it's one of the coolest sets, like maybe just like the time it was filmed, like something about how real it is. I mean, it is a real house, it's not a set. Yeah, it just stuck with me. And I've always wanted to build it in The Sims, so I started to do it on my own, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna film it because I feel like a lot of people probably resonate with the nostalgia of this build, so I wanted everyone to enjoy it. The outside is mostly like a replica of the home that it was filmed in, except that I needed to take some creative liberties to place things correctly and have room for certain things. So I don't have the grumpy neighbor's house, but instead, you'll see here in a minute, I do put like a building from Live Edit next to it to make it look more like part of the neighborhood, part of the world, instead of just a, random building in the middle of a very bustling downtown area. This was built in Nordhaven, which I've actually never built here before, so this was kind of fun. I just thought it looked like a spot that a firehouse would be if there was one there, so that's how I made that decision. Something that's going on here is I was trying to fill in the space between the debug building and the actual build, just to make it look more real. Like if you were zoomed in, it wouldn't be like, why is there just a gap? So I did put some like vents and cracks and dirt and things in there. Not that you'll literally ever see it, but the detail is there. But recreating the layout of this house was a nightmare. Because as you can imagine, you don't see the entire house in the movie. Like we never see her mom Helen's bedroom. So I had to completely go off of vibes for that. There's like a door on the side of the house that has stairs leading up to it on the second floor. But we never see like how you get to that door. So I did have to add that in towards the end of the video. Just make like another entrance. Mia's tower up at the top, I had to place it in a way that you could get to it from her room, but originally like I didn't have it set up like that, so it was just a lot of fiddling. It's not exact, but it's pretty close. And when I look at these rooms, especially on the bottom floor, like the living room and the kitchen, I like get that feeling of like watching the movie, so I'm pretty proud of that. Really funny, the end of that clip that you just saw with the like desks up in the tower, because right now what I'm doing is just placing placeholder furniture to get an idea of spacing. My game actually crashed twice during this build, so I moved around a lot because I was getting frustrated. Something else that happened during this build was my power went out during a really bad thunderstorm. So all that to say, it took me way longer to do this than I'm willing to admit, but it ended up being fine and I'm obsessed with it. So we're starting out in the living room here. This was honestly the clutter in this set, in this house, like when you look at photos, is a work of art. The amount of just crap everywhere, art, paint, books, magazines, plants, it's insane. Like my build started to lag because I was trying to, replicate that. But I think I nailed it. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I love it. So as you can see, I just put paint everywhere in the living room, paint supplies, paint on the ground. I even recreated the iconic balloon throwing scene, you know, in the beginning where they're throwing darts at the balloons and there's paint in them. I was pretty proud of that using the tool mod. I just rotated some balloons I had. So that's pretty much all I'm doing here is just putting stuff everywhere. Nothing is like, you know, this is exactly what she had in the movie. It's just like kind of placing things in the relative areas where I saw it in these pictures I referred to, which if I did things right, I've popped up at random points here. Something I also did was vary the walls being distressed versus not, because I feel like in my mind, this is a very lived in house and it was a firehouse at one point. So it's not going to be in pristine condition. So there are also like wall rips, scratches, and like paint missing in a lot of places. And in my head, her mom is, you know, making those areas her own with her own paint. One of my favorite parts of this living room is the murals I put over the doors on the front, because it was really hard to find like doors that would look like where the fire trucks would come out of. And I didn't want them to be functional from the inside, so I covered them with the murals from City Living, and I thought it was cool. It just kind of looked like, you know, she was painting more of what the firehouse provided her. I left in some little like Easter eggs that it was a firehouse. There's like alarms a couple places, some fire hydrants, and obviously the red doors and things. But I think the living room turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I was worried about the clutter, but I think I nailed it. And again, I do hate to toot my own horn, but I love it. I can't promise this build is completely functional. I did bring in some Sims for posing for the thumbnail, and they can get everywhere on the bottom floor. There are a couple places on the top floor where they can't go, like the tower. But for the most part, everything seems to be functional. So that's a win. Another creative liberty I had to take was a bathroom down here. We only ever see the bathroom in Mia's room and only a glimpse of it. So obviously if you wanted to download this build, I wanted to make sure that your Sims had bathrooms. So I just added one onto the kitchen, since the layout of the kitchen in different pictures was kind of weird. Like it almost seems like they filmed in two different kitchens. I don't know. I could be wrong and maybe my brain wasn't working, but the photos were not. The math wasn't mathing. So anyways, I just, you know, saved myself from making a huge kitchen and added a bathroom. This is another place where I wanted it to be very clear that an artist lives here. Lots of quirkiness, lots of weird art. Yeah, paint on the walls that maybe wouldn't typically be there. I wanted this to look like she was actively painting that room, so I added the wood walls, the stud walls from the artist studio kit. I thought that was kind of fun, and that's where I just started adding kind of everything from the artist studio kit around, because I feel like that's going to show the personality of the mom more. And that black screen you just saw was my game crashing again. So you know, I do get very brave, and I go a long time without saving later on in this video, but thankfully it didn't happen a third time. It only happened twice. So in this clip, what I am doing is, in the photos from the kitchen, there's like an island that they are standing at a lot, but it's not like a counter island. It's like an island that you can buy from IKEA, and it's on wheels. I have one in my kitchen, and we don't really have anything like that, and I didn't have any custom content like that, so I just kind of improvised, and I used this like pottery storage thing from Businesses and Hobbies. And I actually think it worked out, because I gave her a pottery activity upstairs. Not that Helen, Mia's mom, does that in the movie, but I feel like it's something she would do. So gave you the option, if you download this, something else for your Sims to do besides paint. I am just cluttering up the rest of the kitchen here. I really like the detail in this kitchen from the actual movie. You know, the fridge is behind a half wall. I'm assuming there's a laundry over there too, so that's what I put over there. Some cat things all around, since obviously Louie, Mia's very fat cat, is a resident of the home. So I kind of tucked in a litter box and food bowls here and there just so the cat could survive. I like the touch of this painted door because I do imagine that her mom is kind of painting everywhere. So I do that up here too, kind of looking like they're crafting everywhere they go, or at least her mom. I don't know if Mia's as into it as her mom is. I did include the pole, the infamous pole she slides down. Now I do have that pole from the Wicked Whims mod, which is what that one is. But as you can see, there's like the base of the pole at random intervals because it was like 3 stuck together. So that would hurt if you slid down it. So do not recommend. Up here is just a mishmash of clutter. It wasn't super clear what was up here. There is definitely plants and there is definitely this hutch, but that's pretty much it. So everything else was improvised. And at the end of the video, I do add in a hallway to get to the entrance on the side. I just at this point had not remembered that, so give me a second and you'll see it. Later on, I do make those photos I put on the half wall, like overlooking the loft, crooked, which I think is a fun touch because if they're on that side of the wall, you're probably not adjusting those very often. At least I wouldn't. So I just thought it gave the build a little more character, but you'll see that in a second. Moving on to Mia's room, there are quite a bit of nods to the movie. Like the letter that she gets from her, that she reads from her dad. I put that in a couple places. The books that are everywhere. When I put clothing down, I tried to make it blue to, reference her school uniform. Just making it very clear that it is her room. Now, that being said, it was kind of hard because her room was a little more girly than her character was, at least in the beginning of the movie, so that was kind of hard. I was trying to balance between making it girly, but also making it like Mia's personality, before she takes on that whole princess personality thing.
Relation might be morally bankrupt, but it doesn't mean they're blind. Lily! Just stop it, okay?
And we don't have like a dollhouse castle cat bed, but I had something similar, so I thought that was fun to include. I gave her just a little hangout area at the window, and then gave her a bathroom, which again, we only see into the door of the bathroom and that's it. So I had to improvise, but I did see it was pink. So I was able to kind of match everything from the pink. There's a lot of art everywhere in this house, so I wanted to continue that through Mia's room, even though maybe she's not as artistic as her mom. I have to imagine her mom either gives her a lot of stuff to hang or she's participated in the art activity at some point. Moving up to her tower, this is where another game crash. So I, just saved you guys the trauma of watching me rebuild, but added some letters here, again a reference when she runs up to read the letter from her dad. Made it kind of messy up here because in my head this is her safe space and where she goes when she doesn't want to talk to anybody. In the movie, her ceilings and walls are like painted clouds up here, but we didn't have that as a wall paint, so I just made sure to use the Horse Ranch cloud paint on the ceiling. So you should be able to see it in the screenshots at the end. Just kind of a fun touch. Now for the final room, this is a room that we never see in the movie. So again, took total creative liberties with her mom's room, but I think it matches the vibe. She's a chaotic artist. I imagine that she's painting all the time and there are just images and art everywhere. So I wanted to, show her personality in her room as much as I could, even though Mia is the main character. She is the moment. Anne Hathaway really popped off with that character. I think she lives in a lot of our heads rent free, and for good reason. Now, if you don't know, they did announce that there's going to be a Princess Diaries 3, which is so exciting. And apparently Anne Hathaway and Julia Roberts confirmed involvement. That is super exciting and made me even more excited to build this because I am ready to watch that movie over and over and over. While the rest of this video is just screenshots so you can see the build in all of its glory and check out the clutter a little closer than that hyperspeed video I just showed you. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that this is something that you're interested in watching. If there are any other like nostalgic movies or shows, things that you would like me to recreate, I can definitely try. You can leave a comment and let me know. I'm also curious if this movie holds a special place in your heart like it does for me, and if you're as excited about the potential third movie as I am. With that being said, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and as always, I hope to catch you guys back here soon in the Lavender Lounge. Bye, friends.